Remember that scene in Top Gun, where Maverick's facing off against those MiG fighters? The tension, the unknowns, who's going to make the first move.
Oh, yeah, classic.
Well, imagine that, but swap out the fighter jets for, like, a swarm of drones buzzing around in the night, and nobody knows who's flying them.
Yeah, that's a scenario right out of, well, maybe not Top Gun, but definitely a headline these days.
Exactly. And it's not just a Hollywood plot. We're diving into a real-life drone mystery today, one that played out recently at Langley Air Force Base, no less.
Langley, wow. Home to some pretty serious hardware and some even more serious security protocols.
You got it. So buckle up, listeners, because this isn't just about military secrets. This deep dive gets into why understanding drone security is relevant to all of us.
Absolutely, because this technology, it's not staying on the battlefield, that's for sure.
So let's set the scene. We're talking small to mid-sized drones, right? Not the massive weaponized ones you see in the movies. But these things were flying around Langley for, get this, 17 days straight.
17 days. That's not just unusual, that's practically unheard of, especially around a base like Langley. We're talking highly restricted airspace, violations. Those don't just get a slap on the wrist.
Right, this wasn't some kid with a birthday present from Best Buy. And here's the kicker. They always flew after sunset like clockwork, and folks on base said the sound was like, well, a parade of lawnmowers, apparently.
Eerie. And effective, I'd imagine, if you're trying to avoid, well, detection, which makes the question of who even more important.
Exactly. Was it a foreign government poking around, seeing how we'd react? Some hobbyists with a bit too much time and tech on their hands.
See, and that's the thing about drone tech these days. It's become so accessible. Could be almost anyone with the right skills and a bit of cash. Makes it a nightmare to pinpoint who's behind the controls.
Okay, so we've got unidentified flying objects, high security zone. I'm getting X-Files vibes here. But seriously, why all the secrecy? If they're just drones, why not find out who's flying them and, ask them to stop?
Because even small drones, and I'm talking the kind you might see at the park, can be fitted with some pretty sophisticated gear. High-res cameras, the works. Imagine those pointed at sensitive military installations.
Spying, basically.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And good luck proving it. It's not like they leave a calling card.
Right.
So you've got this real challenge of gathering evidence that holds up, legally speaking.
So it's not just fighter jets and bombs we have to worry about anymore. It's these, invisible threats we might not even see coming.
You're getting it. This incident really throws a wrench into things. We spent decades building defenses against large-scale attacks. But how do you defend against something so small, so numerous, potentially so dangerous?
It's a chilling thought. And look, we're talking military bases here, but this has implications for all of us, right? Drones deliver packages, they film movies, farmers use them, they're everywhere.
Exactly. This Langley incident, it's a wake-up call. As drones become more common, the ethical and legal questions, they multiply. How do we make sure they're used responsibly? How do we balance innovation with, well, not turning into some dystopian sci-fi flick?
Lots to unpack there, but before we get ahead of ourselves, what was the official response to all this? Did Langley scramble the jets?
Well, not quite. Publicly, the Air Force acknowledged the incident, but they downplayed the threat, assured everyone things were, under control.
But behind closed doors?
Different story. The White House held high-level meetings, so clearly they weren't taking it lightly. But concrete action, that was trickier.
So lots of talk, not a lot of action. Why is it so hard to respond to something like this?
Legal hurdles, mostly. Military can't just shoot down any drone that enters restricted airspace. There are rules, protocols, got to prove an immediate threat. And like we said, good luck with that when it comes to things like espionage.
It's like trying to catch smoke, isn't it?
Pretty much. And this whole thing, it reminds me of that Chinese balloon incident earlier this year. Two very different events, but both show how much we're still figuring out this whole new era of, well, let's call it aerial technology.
Right. New rules for a new battleground, basically.
Exactly. And this Langley incident, concerning as it was, it's a learning moment. What can we do as a society to make sure drones are used safely, responsibly going forward? That's the question.
It's like that old saying, right? With great technological advancements come
great responsibility.
Exactly. So next time you see a drone buzzing around, remember, it's not just a cool gadget. It's a sign of these complex challenges, these opportunities that we're only just starting to grasp.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I would have been on top of the charts, but it's politics. You do some gimmick shit and post, you get a lot of clicks. Drop some real shit and they probably won't acknowledge it.